Today I want to talk about voice of reason. Voice of reason. What do we mean by voice of reason? I'll tell you what. As an announcer, you might determine, like, I know what's important, what's not important, this is important, that's not important. But you know what? It doesn't always work out that way. What you feel isn't important might be important in the grand scheme of things. And that's why I talk about voice of reason. So be on both sides of the fence. Don't put your shutters down. It's like, I'm going to block out. I can only do what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. Some other people have good ideas too as well. And that's why the voice of reason really can help you out when it comes down to announcing, because that is, truly important when it comes down to the voice of reason. Now, we talk about it. Now, as an announcer, I've seen announcers who were really good at what they do, and they've been amazing. And I've worked with some amazing announcers throughout the past years through X Games and all the international competitions I've done. But one thing I noticed that announcers don't end up having a very long time at the job is when they criticize the judges. All right, they fight with the director. If you're going to do that, no one's going to want to work with you. And if you're going to constantly throw the judges under the bus, that's not your job. As a host announcer or a sport announcer is to make it fun, be educational, but make it entertaining and deliver the competition all the way from start to the middle to the finish. If you're sitting there second guessing the judges, this isn't like some reality television show, Housewives of Beverly Hills or something like this. That's not your job to do. So throwing the judges under the bus is never going to help you. First off, if you ever want to get information from the judges when you're not announcing and ask them questions about a particular score, do you think they're going to want to talk to you? They're not going to want to talk to you because you're the guy throwing them under the bus. Like, I don't know what the judges were thinking there. That score is way too low. Even if you don't agree with it, save it. You know what? Talk to the judges afterwards and find out. There's so many times when I've been announcing an event where I see a score come in and I'm scratching my head. How is that score even right? But you know what? Rather than comment and fly half-cocked off the handle right there in front of all the crowds that's there or the people watching online at home or a television deal, you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to think about it first and then talk to the judges afterwards, because 9 out of 10 times the judges have been able to clear things up for me when it was all said and done. And that is so, so important. So voice of reason, what you feel isn't important just might be. There could be something in the background that you're missing. Look on everything. And if you're the host announcer, talk to your sport announcer. He might have stories about these individual people that you didn't even know. So don't just be like, my material is my material. Share your material with your host and trying to get that information too as well. Because like you said, if it's something that he has that you didn't have, that can go into the show and make the show that much better. Also, remember, the directors make the call. I mean, as much as you want to think you're the shining star of this whole operation, the directors still have to make the call. They're hired to make that call. They don't want to work with you if you're the guy going to be second guessing them all the time. Once again, the judges, don't second guess the judges. Don't throw the judges under the bus. Make sure you don't do that. And the reason being, because you can develop a rapport with those judges. You can talk to them. You can talk to them in the hotel lobby. You can talk to them over dinner. Whatever the case may be, they'll clear things up. And then you can even use that in your show the next day. Was talking to some of the judges last night at dinner, and they said this about so-and-so score, and it clears things up. So when I talk about voice of reason, don't pass judgment. What you feel is not important might be, I'll tell you, and be non-biased. Support all athletes in all the competition. Get behind everyone, support them all. And be prepared to make the big call. And not only to be prepared to make the big call, make sure you have the information. Know the highest score he's ever gotten before. So if that in turn is his highest score in the history, you're able to say that's the highest score in history. If that's the highest score in the history of X Games or whatever your competition is, know that that's the highest score ever. So know those things. Be prepared to make that big call when it comes down to voice of reason.